Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Patreon podcast. This week I wanted to talk about the idea that nobody is an island. And I think when a lot of people start as creatives and they start building a business, they feel that they have to do every single thing themselves. And I definitely know that I was in this boat. And I guess to some degree it is true where when you're starting out, you don't really have a network of friends or other colleagues who know the things or who are starting out as you are. So I can understand that when you're very, very early on and just starting out, that it might be possible that you don't really know as many people. However, once you start building your business and start growing momentum and becoming more of a sustainable business, I think that it's really important to embrace the idea that you can't do everything yourself. And this took me a very, very long time to understand, partially because of my background being so far-reaching when it comes to graphic design and programming and music and all of that other stuff. I wanted to do everything myself because it was very, very much a pride thing. However, over time, I realized that that's not sustainable. And excuse me, and one of the main things that I've started to do, especially with the Naso Elmo, which is the November album in a month challenge, excuse me, I started outsourcing the album art to artist friends. And I think that that was a really good way for me to kind of dip my toe into the idea that I don't have to do everything myself. And I think that there's something to be said about doing everything yourself, and it's nice to, one, not have to pay other people, because obviously you need to pay them, but it's nice that you can stay within budget on that because you're doing everything yourself. And it's also nice to be able to say, I did everything on this myself. And I think that, yes, there's something to be said about that source of pride. But if the end result of your art suffers because of it, is it really worth it? And my best example for this is Color Jumper. I did everything on Color Jumper, from the programming to the art to the music to the release to the marketing, and that's where I fell flat. I feel that if I had a better understanding of how to market a game, I might have been able to do better, but since I had no idea what I was doing and I was just going off of blog posts that I found online, which are useful but not necessarily helpful, I feel that Color Jumper really didn't get received as well as it should have been, simply because I didn't know how to get it in front of enough people for it to reach that kind of critical mass. And that's completely on me. Like, it's important to understand how that stuff works. And I did, after release, I did work with somebody for a little while relating to, like, trying to get some Twitter marketing going and stuff. But we had, like, some creative differences, and it didn't really go great, and it just kind of fizzled out, and it just kind of was not really good use of my time, and probably their time as well, and it just ended up with a lot of frustration. So I think that investing and trying to find ways to work with other people is so very important, because as a business, you're not going to be doing everything yourself, or at least you shouldn't be. Whether that means that you have a business development person that you talk to who kind of steers you in the right direction, or if that's somebody who does your accounting because that's just really not that's not something that you want to do, or if you have an artist. Like, there's so many streamers and YouTubers and everybody out there who hires other people to do their art, and, you know, having that professional veneer over their brand is really important when it comes to that, because with streaming and Let's Plays and YouTube, it's really like the first thing you see is whether or not you want to stick around with that channel. So it's important to have that kind of stuff. So really, if you want take this analogy in a different way, don't be an island, don't be by yourself, be an archipelago, which is a fancy word of saying a series of islands. And I think that that's really the main point that I want to say, because I definitely learned the hard way that doing everything yourself, while it feels great, it doesn't really always end up with the result that you want. And sometimes it's just easier to pay somebody or have friends that can offer advice. And don't go it alone. There's no reason to go it alone at this point, especially with the internet out there. There's so much resources out there that you can tap into. There's no reason to just do everything by yourself. Obviously, pay people. I mean, I don't really want to get into that. If somebody does work for you, make sure you pay them, because that would be really crappy if you didn't. So that's everything I have this week. Thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter and for listening. I did those out of order, I know. And yeah, I'll talk to you next week. Be remarkable.